So we're here at my mom's place, and we're going to have a look at some of her trees. We've got a maple and a azalea to look at, and this is my mom, and we're going to have a look at some of her trees. So this one,
yeah,
you had
it's just
a front in mind?
I think the side you were just looking at is probably the front, but the leaves are obscuring the trunk.
Yeah, so I just have my regular shears, and we'll use some rubbing alcohol on them.
Do you clean those between every tree?
Yeah, I think you should. I hadn't been, but I think you can spread diseases between trees if you aren't keeping them clean. So just as a precaution. The first thing you might want to do is actually take off these branches that are coming straight forward out of the trunk. And they're small enough that you don't need to use these, but that might be a way to do it. So
Just me do it.
yeah.
So
So just get nice and close there and just pinch that off. And maybe even this one. This one's a little bit bigger. And so for this one, I think you might want to take that whole stump off.
Like this part right here?
Yeah, and you can get in nice and close to the trunk to try and get some of, to make it flush, basically.
Oh, okay. Am I close enough for that? Should I try to get
yeah, try and get a little bit more off.
I've never used these before, so I'm not really sure what
Yeah.
you're doing here.
Well, and it will heal over. It's just, if it's got a bit of a bump, it'll heal with a bump. But anyway, I think that's good enough.
Okay.
So, what else is kind of blocking that front view? Like maybe this one, but we don't necessarily have to take the branch off. Although, imagine if that were not there. Like cut right there, would that?
Cut here? Is that what you said, or here?
Yeah, like what if we cut this whole branch off?
Yeah. So I think there's too much going on in the middle of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So this branch is what you're talking
Yeah,
about, right?
and it doesn't have to be right close, but give it a little bit of space. Sometimes the branches will die back a little bit if they're too, like if you cut right against there, it can sometimes cause dieback of this branch. And the other thing we could do is stick these in some water, and then maybe use them as cuttings in a bit.
When I see things like this growing in my pots, should I be pulling that out?
I mean, you may as well.
It's a forget-me-not.
Yeah, I mean, and they'll take over. For the most part, they're just going to be competing with resources. But a lot of people like to have some moss growing in there, which is good.
I like the look of the moss.
Yeah, so I almost think like anything that's on the front here, I think should come out. So like this little guy.
Yeah. This one here.
And then, yeah, you kind of have to make some decisions about things that are coming forward, like this one comes forward in front of the trunk, and whether or not that'll be part of your final design is up to you, of course. But I almost don't know about this branch at all coming forward, but if you didn't have it there, you still have this one below. The other thing that I've seen people do is do some rough cuts to it first to like get it into a more of a triangle shape.
Yeah.
So we could actually do that just to get like some of this out of the way.
It's really grown a lot lately, so.
So some of these really long branches, of course, what you want to do is encourage them to bud out lower back, so they'll grow these branches further back, and these long straight pieces are not going to
Right.
be part of it. Yeah, the more I look at this branch, the more I think it maybe shouldn't be there at all.
Well, I've been watching your videos and realize I need to go brave, so it's coming out.
There you go. Okay, so we have some cut paste that I can use. So what I'll do is I'll cut that even more flush. And then I'll get some cut paste and cover up the wound. I found out the hard way, and the first time I used it, that you have to have wet fingers when you're handling it.
Yeah, I saw that video.
It was pretty hilarious trying to get it and it was such a large area that I was covering that it just was not good at all.
Here it is.
That's okay. I find it difficult to work with, but I guess the idea basically is to cover up that wound so that it isn't losing moisture, and you know, fungus can't get in there, although you never know, we could be trapping fungus in there as well, but the moisture loss is a problem. So okay, so if you take a step back, it's already it's already kind of looking more like a tree because you can see the trunk now. And so we could, I guess one of the things is that we don't necessarily have to have a final shape at this stage because like there's a lot of development that needs to go on, and so you know, you can kind of pick some of these branches to be main branches in a future design. Like this part could be a small pad that's coming out at the bottom here that would be separated from the next tier.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So stuff that interferes with it, anything that goes up or down from this branch, should probably...
So like this part here?
Yeah, and it's not such a big problem for just the leaves themselves because they will fall off, but the stem that it's growing on, if they were growing down, you wouldn't want that. Okay. You could just, like for aesthetics for, you know, this year, kind of take that out so that it has that distinction, but it's not going to actually change the structure. But you can see here there's like a branch that's going upward, and you're probably not going to want that. So you would take that off. Can't quite see. Right there. And we've got other stuff that's kind of coming down into that plane, which maybe we'll want to take off. The other thing is we could wire or like use a guy wire to pull this down if we wanted to, like change the angle of it. Putting wire right on the tree will sometimes cause scarring on a maple, so you have to be careful doing that. But I do think this one at the back is maybe too far out.
Yeah, it does seem like there's a lot going on back.
And maybe we'll leave the little branches that are coming out the side, but take this main center one out. Get some nice cuttings maybe.
Yeah.
Just not sure about this. This one, it's going backwards right now, but that's okay. But it kind of comes down and crosses into this area, right? But maybe we could shorten it, and later you would use it again for somewhere up higher. But I'm not sure yet. I'm just thinking out loud. So then we've got this whole section here and there's 2 branches. I think this one that comes forward, you don't want it to be the leader.
No.
And so I'm almost thinking we should take the top off at least.
Yeah, it looks pretty like it's developing into a pretty strong branch.
Well, unless you wanted that to replace this as the leader.
Yeah, I don't know if I do.
So let's just take the top off and see what we're looking at. I don't know if that's too close. Yeah, and you can see it better now that this is like, it's almost one or the other, right?
Yes, definitely.
And so it seems out of place to have that there.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think it should go.
So I guess this is the main leader. I wonder if it needs to be like almost tilted upwards so that that becomes more apparent that it's the leader. Because right now it's sort of, you could end up, well, there's 4 branches coming out of this point. There's the 2 side branches and then 2 that are sort of facing upward. So one of these could become, you know, the new leader going up towards the apex, and then these probably should be shortened, but this is so nice right now, it almost seems like something we could wire up. I almost think we should try that.
Okay.
And then we could leave one of these as just a branch coming off of that. I don't know if we could do 2. I'm going to remove some of these leaves just so we can be able to see better.
Yeah,
So, yeah, we've got, you never want 4 branches coming out of one point.
Right.
I think it's max 2. And so it'll lead to inverse taper where it will really get fattened up there.
Right.
And so something's got to go, and I'm just trying to think of, I do think that this should come up.
Let's keep that one.
And then maybe one of these larger ones going this way. Yeah, it's so hard to say, isn't it? Certainly one of these 2 has to go.
Okay.
I'm going to take the back one, just to give us something to work with on the front still. And if we were to wire this up, it seems like a harsh angle, but I think as it develops it would probably work. I'm thinking maybe that one, maybe we keep this one and get rid of that one.
Okay.
Not 100% sure how that will go, but we'll give it a try.
It's all an experiment, right?
So then we have some branches coming off this way, the branches there. Some of these other ones at the back might need to be at least shortened. But
there's a lot going on in the back there and here.
I'm going to take just a little bit more out of here to give it a little more flexibility while we're trying to move it. And then, again, this could be a good branch coming off the side. I'm debating whether we should try and wire it right away or if we should clear up some other stuff first. It might make more sense to clear up other stuff first. So if this is a level, maybe we'll have this might actually be too thick for a branch up this high. But I'm not really sure if we should take it out just yet. This could end up being the branch that fills in here instead of this.
Yeah, okay.
But maybe not this year. I don't know if you're feeling like making big changes like that right away. Something like this coming up seems somewhat out of place as well.
Yeah, I don't like this whole branch here.
You want the whole branch gone?
I'm thinking yes, but you know, what's your advice?
Well, I mean, certainly that one has to go for sure.
Definitely.
And so just get it out of the view for a moment, and then it is too like steep, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look at a maple tree in nature, there are sort of extra branches going up at these sorts of angles. But if we took it out, it would be replaced with this one, which is a little bit thinner, which would be nice.
Okay, and then there's another one really close here too.
Yeah, so really only one of those two should remain, or one of those three, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of would agree that I don't really like the angle of that one, and maybe the one below it.
Yeah, yeah. So why don't we take out this one and that one?
And I'm thinking, something else I was just thinking of is you want these to not necessarily be directly opposite each other.
Yes, that's right.
So this one, I mean, it is a little bit higher to the next one, but you kind of have to keep that in mind. Like, is it going to sort of step up between them?
Yeah. So what if we had this one and then this one? We could get rid of this. This one seems a bit low.
Yeah, I don't know if I would necessarily want to get rid of it, but you can always sort of hide it to see how it would look, right? You'll see Peter Chan with his like plastic bag that he puts over it sometimes, and just to help visualize what it would look like without it.
Okay, well you're right, let's leave it for now. But I think this here can go.
The bottom one?
Yeah.
Okay. Should we try wiring that up just to help us visualize it better?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, when you're picking the thickness of the wire.
Yeah, how do you decide out of all those thicknesses there, which ones are the right ones?
I think somebody said it should be about 2/3 of the thickness of the branch, but the other thing that matters is like the strength of the wire versus the strength of the branch. So like if you use the wire to move the branch and it bends the branch, not the wire, then it's fine. But you could see like here, it would not be enough to hold that one.
Yeah, okay.
And it would just barely be enough for that. And it would kind of be enough for that, but I think we need a little bit thicker because we're going quite a drastic angle there. So this is 1.5 mil. So let's have a look at the 2 mil and see if that's sufficient. It might be. And you can see that has a much better chance at holding that up.
Yeah.
It might still not be enough, but we'll see. So we need to anchor it by wrapping it around another branch. This one might go later. I'm not sure about using that one. So normally they say to use 2 branches. So you would like wire it maybe along this branch and then up to this branch.
Okay.
That's quite a distance, but it could work. And we don't need a lot there, so give that a try. And we're going to come up to about, I guess, this height or so, just enough to get that.
Okay.
And you need to account for some of the spiral, so you go a little bit further.
Okay, all right. Well, this actually, just this alone clears up a lot of questions I had in my mind about how do you choose the. Okay.
Yeah, so it's always, the question is always how to get started on this. I guess I probably want to make a couple wraps around this. You want to try not to get the leaves in the way, but kind of do that. And actually this might be useful here because that branch maybe will want to have it go at more of an angle, right?
Okay.
So then,
kind of getting too.
Yeah, so then we'll bring that around here. And then just keep kind of working it around. Want to do some?
Kind of get a feel for. And you don't want to go too tight, right? Like, am I?
The coil could be just slightly tighter down that way, maybe, but not tight around the bark necessarily. You can lift some of these up out of the way.
We want to end up on this branch.
On this branch, yeah. I think I went too long, but that's okay. Actually, I might suggest if we bring this down just a little bit more that way.
Okay.
And then we can come around through this gap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry. Get it caught on you.
That's fine. And this leaf is getting caught, so we can bring it out. And then try and get close above that little bit of leaf there.
Do that without breaking.
Yeah, that's always the challenge. So,
Okay, where am I here? So do I want to go above that leaf or below it?
I would say below, because
Okay.
this one area is the area that we really need to affect. Because at this point, this is going up on its own already.
Yeah.
So already the wire is too long, but that's fine. We can trim it off. So we could even stop there.
Okay.
So now you can see that, like, we can bring this forward if we wanted to. We could, go from side to side if we wanted to. We have a lot of flexibility there. The other thing I was thinking when you're just away for a moment is that we'll probably want to replant this at a more forward angle, because right now I feel like it's leaning back quite a bit.
Okay.
So in the spring when you're repotting it, you might do something more like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to talk to you in the spring about what medium to have in here, because I'm pretty sure it's just potting soil underneath these rocks.
Okay. Yeah. So, like, this doesn't have to be straight, obviously, and probably don't even want it to be straight. But I don't know.
Okay.
So now this can reach for the sky and become the leader. And I think I zoomed in a bunch. I always do that. I zoom in and then I forget to zoom back out. I'm going to need to back up a bit. Yeah, so now this can be the new leader. And we could just do maybe one more, but it's really not necessary at this point, just because it's already heading in the right direction, and the main area we wanted to change was down there. So you can just trim that off here somewhere.
Oh, let's see if these things work. So just
Maybe there.
just right around there. Okay.
And then that's sharp, so you'll want to watch that later, but I don't know how to sort of close the loop on that, but watch out for that one too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and so this one we might, maybe we want it to be more down now. So you do really have to watch these wires. So like every week or something. Just make sure that this hasn't grown to the point where it's starting to bite into the bark.
Do you think it would grow that fast, or?
It could.
Like,
just keep an eye on it, because as soon as it starts to scar the bark, it'll always kind of look like that.
Right. Okay.
So you want to you want to catch it quickly, and when it's time to come off, you can unwire it to save the wire, but it's sometimes a lot easier to just go in like snip, 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 and then just let it kind of fall apart off of there.
Okay.
That'll be kind of safer.
Yeah. I want to take a step back and look at this one.
Yeah, and so again, I feel like it's leaning back a bit too far, and so I think
good,
like this, it might look better. And so they don't normally recommend wiring maples, just because of that bark scarring that can happen.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But like I say, as long as you're watching it,
I'll watch
it should be okay. So then these two branches, we've got two that are kind of in the same plane here, or the same space. Do you have a feeling for the lower one or the higher one? If you took the lower one away, it would be like this, and the higher one, if you get the higher one, sorry, then it would look like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's pretty similar.
They are pretty similar.
There's nothing really coming off this way yet, but there's that leaf that would lead to a branch coming off this way. So maybe this one's better, and then that one would come off, and then that one would come off higher.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And because the wire is kind of going past there, I'll leave a stub.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes
just so it doesn't fall off or something. I'm pretty happy with like this lower section. These guys seem a little long. Maybe we could shorten them a bit.
Yeah. There's been a lot. Like, I gave it a good haircut in early spring, and now there's been a lot of growth.
Yeah, and so sometimes when you're pruning, you look at where the buds will form. So this one will come straight up. Might be inconvenient for later, so we might prune it behind that bud.
Okay.
But this whole, again, we were talking about maybe this should come out, and this should be the branch that comes out at that level, but you don't have to make that decision this year.
But we could shorten it.
But let's take it back to at least here.
Yeah.
I have a ton of cuttings.
I know. Well, if a couple of them take.
I'm not sure about these back branches. Only because they're thick and kind of upright.
Yep.
You obviously don't want to make a flat tree. And it's feeling a little flat to me right now on the front at least.
Right.
But maybe we should look at the back. So I was just thinking cut this one off, but then that's still quite upright here.
Yeah.
So maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe the upright
this whole
one.
thing is pretty strong.
Yeah, I mean it could have been the other leader potentially, or maybe you do have multiple main branches up higher, but I think this one will be the main one. We could also just shorten them for now, just to encourage some buds to come out in new places.
Okay.
Maybe we'll take this one all the way down to here.
Okay.
See how that looks. I think this one as well somewhere. And all the way along here, there's like a new branch is forming, a new branch is forming, a new branch is forming. So even if we took it out there, you still have the same thing where a new branch is coming that way. I feel like going to here would be good for now. And then that way, this could be a branch coming off that side. Looking a little sparse now, isn't it?
Yep.
So you do want, light to be able to get through to the trunk, and you do want light to get through to the inner branches.
Yeah.
It seems far for the moment. And so anywhere where this is quite a long length between the internodes.
Yeah.
So you can't just, I mean, if you cut it here, it's not generally going to have anything budding out anywhere there, so you do want to keep it close to that.
Okay.
Getting backlogged on my cuttings.
That's a lot of cuttings.
I know. Oh, I think it's actually looking better already.
Oh, it definitely. I mean, maybe what I could do is in a couple of weeks I'll send you a progress.
Yeah,
I
maybe
need
we
one
could.
of those timelines.
Maybe we could shorten this one as well. Yeah. Just there for starters, because you're going for that triangle shape.
Yes. Yeah.
And so,
right. And right now there's like a big slope over here.
Yeah, so we could just go around and shorten all of these, I guess. Yeah. There's actually two. No, maybe not. I thought it was like 2 branches there for a second. And I think it's okay if it's wide at the bottom, because as it gets bigger, it will need to be.
Yeah.
But you do want it to be branching out at those points.
Okay.
Maybe there. Maybe here. Can't see it. We could put a little bit of that cut paste there just in case.
There's a little tiny piece right there. You have to wet your finger.
Yeah. Maybe even just this tiny piece there, just in case, because that's like the branch that we want to keep.
Yeah. Alright.
Good start.
Yeah. So what about aftercare on this?
Well,
Shade, sun.
no, I don't think it matters for the pruning aspects of it.
Okay.
You know, you probably don't even need to water it more because there's now less leaves on it. And you said that it's kind of muddy soil, potentially.
I think it's just potting soil under here.
Yeah, so you do want to be really careful not to overwater this,
All right.
especially with less leaves now, because it will stay wet for longer.
It's pretty wet down there already.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you could pop it out and put it into something. You've seen those like pond baskets and perforated type pots.
I don't think so.
So a pond basket, like they use it to submerge a plant in the water. But
yes.
people will use that. They'll put a tree in it so that it has like maximum air around the surface of the root ball.
Okay.
So if this was ever starting to suffer, we could actually take it right out of the pot. But you can't do root work because it's not the right time for cutting roots or fully repotting it.
Okay.
So
I need to try to keep it alive until spring when it's time for repotting.
I'm sure it'll be fine. It's been fine so far, but
Okay.
but just be careful not to overwater.
Yeah.
And once we get into the hot part of the summer, it probably won't matter anymore.
Yeah.
But for now,
All right. I'm going to keep it over here in my area.
okay.
Okay. Well,
What's next? Yeah.